I purchased this faulty Xbox Series S off of eBay for a grand total of £90. This is the first time I'm ever going to try and fix an Xbox Series S. The condition of the console is okay. We have a couple of scuff marks on the top. Really small, really compact. No disk drive, because obviously it's all digital. The eBay listing states, console was purchased part of a job lot, but I have no experience with these, so don't want to try and fix it. It powers on fine, just does not show anything on the TV. I'd be lying if I said I haven't tried to fix this already. I've recorded half of the video already, but I accidentally permanently deleted the footage, and also didn't realise that I had deleted it for a long time. I was waiting on a part that I think I need to fix it, carried on editing a bunch of other videos, and when I got the part to revisit it, I look back and all the footage is gone. Never mind, we make mistakes, we learn. I'm going to try and power this on now. Again, I've done this before, so I know what the result is. If I try and power the console on, there we go, it works fine. We get a light. Okay, it just turned back off. Okay, and it stays on this time, good. And if you look on OBS, you can see that nothing loads up. The console stays on infinitely, so I know that it's not an issue with the SSD. These ones have SSDs, not hard drives. I'm used to the hard drives, but these have SSDs. If you have a look at the HDMI port, that also looks very, very clean and tidy. Now, this has actually already been replaced, and I'll show you that in a second, by somebody else, by another technician. So I don't know whether that was a seller on eBay, or whether somebody before him, as part of this job lot, had tried to repair it. I'll get the console apart now, and we'll take a look under the scope at the motherboard. Now, there are a couple of small things that I need to note with this console. First off, because this is my first Xbox Series S, I have no idea whether the blue thermal tack is what I'm going to call it. It's meant to be like this, or whether this is a little bit scarce. It seems kind of clumped in areas that it shouldn't be, so I don't know whether I should smooth this out or not. Here we have the storage, which looks hunky-dory. I don't know if there's meant to be some thermal compound here, because you can see that there was, and I don't know if it's been removed. But also, this is where the heatsink goes, and I'm pretty sure that you should have a metal cover like you have on the Series X, but it didn't come with one, so it was taken off already. So I'm going to go ahead and presume that they forgot to put it back on. Obviously I have the clamp itself, I'm just talking about the metal sheet that covers over here. Let's just remove the thermal pasta that we have on the board. This is the HDMI port that has been, well, which looks like it's been replaced, and I'm pretty confident in saying that it has, because you can tell from all the solder that we have on the ground pane just about here, that's not meant to be there. It doesn't really matter that it's there, I guess, and I think these little diodes have been knocked out of place as well. Oh, we seem to, oh no, we don't have one missing, it was just the angle, but we've got a couple that seem to be out of place. I've repaired a Series X before, and I actually knocked a few of these off, and it still works. I think these are more based for protection rather than stopping the display from going through. Now what I'm going to do is just poke the HDMI lines and just see if we've got any loose pins. We didn't last time I checked, so hopefully nothing's changed now. They all seem to be absolutely solid, so fair play to whoever did repair this port previously, because the port itself is solid. Could do with some more solder maybe in the ground legs here. If I tilt the board up as well, you can see small amounts of flux in between. You're not going to be able to really help that unless you thoroughly clean it. There doesn't seem to be any bridges from what I can see. The rest of the board does have quite a bit of flux left on it, so I don't think it was the best cleaning job after they actually replaced the port. You can see somehow the flux got all the way over here as well. So there could be quite a few things wrong with the display. However, I think I've worked it out, and when I think it usually hurts, so it comes at a price. Now I put my meter into diode mode, which is where I use the black probe to poke around, and the red probe is actually on ground. Now all of these pins, except for the ones that are grounded, which are the ones that don't have a trace coming from them. Can you see, for example, that one, this one, this one, they should all have a reading, which most of them do, around about anywhere from 0.6 to 0.800, which they do. They all seem to check out absolutely fine, except for pin 19, which is this one here. Now I don't know what part this pin actually plays, pin 19, but I'm going to go ahead and guess it's important. We get a diode reading of open line. Now I spoke to Phil, aka the coder, and I said to him, where do you think this one actually goes to? Do we know somewhere on the board where this pin goes to? And because Phil was awesome, he turned around and said, yeah, it goes to here, which is why you can see I've scratched away at this wire. If I put the probe here, I'm supposed to get around about 0.6 voltage drop in diode mode. I get open line. So this pin goes to this wire. And to confirm that, if I put the meter into continuity mode and go from here to here, you can hear the beep, which shows that there's a continuous path from this pin to this wire. Now, if you go ahead and look at this filter, I think it's an ESD filter they call it. Why is there so many cracks around the outside? What's going on? It just doesn't look that healthy. This is the component that I put the fault down to. So what I'm thinking is that we take this one off, I take one from a Xbox One X because they have the same ESD filters. I reball the one on the Xbox One X and then we put it on here and see if this reading changes. Originally, I thought maybe that this pin was loose, hence why I wasn't getting a diode reading. However, because there's a continuous path, I can measure here, and that definitely confirms that there's something wrong with this, or this area, not necessarily even this chip, but this sort of area. So let's do that now. Let's get this ESD filter off and replace it with another one. 470 degrees Celsius with 99% airflow, just like that. I don't know if these solder joints are like burnt or something, or whether these ones have solder on and these ones don't, or whether in fact this has indeed been replaced before, because I'm pretty sure the ESD filters don't look like this on the underneath. Surely there's meant to be like a little bit of plastic that protects this part, but I don't know. I'm not going to know until I take one from the Xbox One X board and investigate. Now luckily we have the dot on this chip as well to be able to line up here, so we definitely know that it goes this way. Now interestingly, I've just been able to really easily pull this off, so I wonder if that was even connected at all. All the other pads seem to be fine when I push them as well, so I find it no coincidence that this one was faulty. So I am going to have to do a little trace repair on this one. First off, we get a little bit of flux and put it on the area. Tiny bit of leaded solder just to, again, tin up the pads. Give it a small clean with some IPA and a cotton swab, to see exactly what's going on. I was thinking about reballing this, but to be honest with you, I could just probably leave the solder on there and place the chip on. I'm going to try it that way and see what happens. I think you should reball, because then all of the solder joints are an equal size, so it ensures a good connection. I think it will be okay for the ESD filters, but anything bigger would it wouldn't work for, you know. I'm going to need a really, really small wire for this. I think that is going to be perfect. Yeah, it will be. That'd be wicked. So if we now just scrape this little wire, clean with a drop of IPA, gonna dab it, drop some flux on, just gonna put a tiny bit of solder just there, take the trace wire, cleaning it will just ensure that it's definitely a solid connection, that it can last, which by the looks of it is okay. And then what I see the pros do is actually swivel this around to make that like ball type connection just there. I mean, that also works. It just kind of fell off. Now I do just want to make sure that we have continuity going from this little bit down here to here, which we do. And then I also want to check that we have continuity from this little bit to the pin, which we do. That's good as well. Okay, good so far. Now we just need to apply some solder mask just to there and there. Perfect. If I can help it, I want to try and keep that as clear as possible, or at least just move the stuff away so it doesn't interfere with the placement of the chip. So let's just thin that out a little bit. Okay, and now we have our rock solid solder mask, as you can see here. Now I just need to tin this little wire here. Tad bit of flux. There we go, it's tinned. There we go. Bit of IPA. I'm just going to dab a cotton bud. Let it soak up what it needs to. Okay, I think I'm ready to place the chip on. I think I'm going to pre-ball the tip and get rid of the solder blobs that you see here, because they're not all even at all. So I completely retract what I said earlier. Here's the ESD filter on the Xbox One X. Oh wow, this is the same underneath as the other one. That's incredible. I'm surprised there's no plastic on it. Now we have to be super careful I don't lose this. Super, super careful. What we're going to do is put a tiny bit of flux on it. Get off, get off. Align this just over, hold this in place and just dab it. I really need another pair of hands. Nice, okay. Stage 1 complete. Now for solder balls, these are 0.3, not that you can really see. These are ridiculously tiny. Lord above. I can't wait to apply hot air on this and they all just disappear. So, to ensure that this works, I've gone airflow speed 5% with a temperature of 450 degrees Celsius, and I'm just gonna have to start so far away from it and slowly get, I might actually, do you know what, I'm gonna go 1%. I'm going 1% airflow speed, here we go. This could have all been for nothing. Come on, dare I say it, but I think, still not happy. Now I'm gonna go with a tiny bit of flux. Okay, I think the balls are on there because they would have moved with the flux if that wasn't the case. That's really good. Let's go again. I'm going to do a quick test and see if I can knock any of these balls off. No, I can't, which means they should be soldered on. Some look a bit bigger than the others. They're all 0.3. I think that's maybe because some of them are soldered on better than the others, but I'm going to go drop of IPA and just dab it. Okay, I think we're good to go, I think. Now I just need to clean up this little area. Just going to dab it. Take it nice and slow. Almost dab every single one. That should be good. Again, drop of IPA. Yeah, it looks flat. And cotton swab, just dab, no wipe. And now for the moment of truth. For the sake of it, I am just having a look to see if I've covered every bit. I think we look fine. Yeah, I've got every bit soldered. Okay, nice. You can actually see there's a crack here which cuts off that solder ball at the end, the bottom left. Can you see that? I wonder if that's the top piece. Yeah, it was. So that you can see where pin 19 goes. This is the old one. There's in fact a chip where that ball goes. Okay, tiny bit of flux. Let's do this. Get it roughly in place. There we go, perfect. Right, here we go. 5% airflow this time at 450 degrees Celsius. Let's do this. Slowly but surely, wish me luck. This is the most important part. I'm just going to give it a tiny little love tap. Okay, a bit too much, but okay, yeah, cool. That's definitely in place. Okay, and off. Just going to go back in with 10% just to make sure. Chips dancing, off. I think we're good. Let it cool for a sec, let my nerves cool down, and we'll have a look. Quick clean. I'm happy to say that that was my first time doing that, using those little balls. So I'm happy with how it went. It took a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but overall I'm happy. I've gone with the overhead cam so you guys can react and see with me straight away as to what's going on with the multimeter and the reading that we are wanting to see. So remember, pin 19 was showing as open line, like what displays on the multimeter now. We're in diode mode, red probe on ground and black probe on pin 19. We're looking for about anywhere between 0.5 to 0.8. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yes, let's go, 0.653. Okay, so that wasn't there before. That's really, really, really good news. Have we fixed the issue? That's the question. Let me put it back together, put some thermal paste on, and we'll give it a test. Do we get display? Okay, I'm very nervous. I've put it back together enough, I think, to test. I have to say, the Xbox Series S is no joke of a console. I love it. For taking it apart and putting it back together, it is amazing. For repairability, I'd give it a good score. The question is, does it work? Have I repaired it? Let's have a look. Okay, 3, 2, 1. It powers on, which is always a good sign. Do we get anything on the screen? We get a fan spin, nothing so far. Still nothing. Wiggle the cable around. Maybe a dodgy port? No? Okay. And it has an SSD, so this should boot up pretty quick and display an image. I was certain that would work. I was certain. Let me try a monitor without a capture card. I don't know if that would be the reason, like on the PS5. I've just tested it on another screen and we have the exact same issue, just a black screen, unfortunately. So let's take it apart and have a look. Now I've got my meter in diode mode again. I just want to check every single pin to make sure that we get a reading. So I'll read them out.
0.6, 0.6, ground, 0.6, 0.6, 0.7, 0.6, 0.7, ground, 0.7, 0.7, ground, 0.7, 0.7, ground, 0.7, 0.7, ground.
0.7, so every single pin has a reading. I don't think now there's anything wrong with this chip because I wasn't getting a reading before on pin 19, now I am. Let me just measure around here.
Fine, 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 fine.
Every component around here shows a diode reading, so again, I don't think it's this. I said before, I think these are just for protection, so I don't think these would cause any harm. I guess I could reflow them to make them look a little bit more presentable. That looks a little bit better than what they were. I think maybe just go over the pins with a soldering iron and just make sure. By the way, this is the actual port itself. Like nothing wrong with it at all. Nothing wrong with that port whatsoever. This is the back of the board. So we have the port which somebody has replaced before, and then down here, I think this is the back of where the ESD filter is. And I've just put the meter into continuity mode, and we've got ground that side and we've got ground that side. In diode mode, this gives like 0.008. So that doesn't necessarily mean that this cap is shorted, though it could be that the connection underneath is shorted. So I'm just going to take this cap off and see if we still have a short here. That cap's off now. Do we still have a short? We do. Okay, interesting. So this pad is still shorted. This is the back of the Xbox One X that I took the ESD filter from, and it looks like this is the same cap, albeit maybe a little bit smaller. Here we have ground. Here we don't. So I'm going to go and hazard a bet that it's not meant to be shorted where it is on the other board. But I think this cap's fine. Let's check. Yeah, the cap itself is fine. It's not a shorted cap. So I can put that back now. I'm going to reflow the ESD filter, but first, before I do that, I am just going to touch up these pins with a soldering iron. There we go. I'm not saying it's better because it was fine before, but it's just, I guess, for reassurance, right? Right, let's go for that reflow again, shall we, of this? And then we'll give it another test and see where we're at. I want to put as much flux on as I can. 450 degrees Celsius, airflow speed of 40% this time. There we go. Right, let's give it a test. Everything's been set up, as you can see, as bare minimum. So we're gonna see if this works in 3, 2, 1. I don't have faith. All the readings were still showing as correct, by the way, on the actual HDMI port itself. I did check afterwards. Do we get anything? I didn't check the short on the back of the board though. Still nothing by the looks of it. That's really, really unfortunate. And let me quickly see if that cap is still shorted on the back. Yes, it is. That cap is still shorted underneath where the ESD filter goes. I'll leave the board completely open because I do definitely want to revisit this. You guys might have a better idea, or you might have seen something on the board that I didn't. I personally think it might just be the ESD filter. Maybe I didn't solder it correctly, which gives us that short on the bottom of the board. But what's confusing is that we now get the diode readings on every single pin of the HDMI, so I have no idea. One thing I'm sure of though is that we will be able to fix it later on. Once I've done the live stream, I'll post it in the top comment of this video, so if you want to check it out, you can. Anticlimactic end because I really thought I had fixed it. Check out this video where I try and fix an Xbox Series X. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed it, sub if you're new around here, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.